week. What I want to do this week is I want to concentrate on our friends over at the Totally Wicked Stadium. But before we do, let's watch this.
Well, before tonight's game started, obviously you're above Warrington. There's a lot of teams that are vying for the top six, and you're one of them. Do you feel that you and your team are coming under, I mean, you're saying Helens, I get that, but do you feel you're coming under probably unfair pressure and criticism from the outside? Because there's a load of teams that are off at this moment in time.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, one thing that I've kind of become accustomed to over the last 18 months is being under external pressure, should I say. But that comes with the territory when you're the head coach of a club like this. So I'm comfortable with that. Now, one thing I have learned to do over the last 18 months is grow thick skin, because I know there's a lot of people are going to be upset and disappointed. A lot of things are going to be said. I don't get caught up in that anymore. I get caught up in the performance of the team, the individuals within it, and how we can work hard to help them improve and help us all improve. But yeah, you're right what you say. There's a bit of inconsistency around the competition at the moment, and we're certainly a part of that.
And from your perspective, and it's been said tonight, you're not knocking the ball on, you're not making these bad calls. The call that you made tonight, which was to move Percival, paid off for you. Yeah. So should people judge you more on that during a game, other than the knock-ons and what we see on the field?
Potentially, but I can't tell every individual in the world of rugby league how to judge me. I'll judge myself first and foremost. That's what I always do. And if people have got things to say, they've got things to say. I don't get caught up in it. It's about us assessing performance and trying our damnedest to improve performance. And I care implicitly about this club and this team, and us being successful. And I'll continue to work as hard as I possibly can to make sure that happens.
All the best.
Thank you.
Josh, you got a question? Matt, no denying that's a really tough one to take.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. All lads are devastated at the minute. It's just not good enough for this club, and it's hard to find words at the minute. We're just not good enough at the minute collectively, and we need to really have a good go. And obviously we've got Magic next week, so we just need to keep bouncing back. But like I said, there's no shying away from tonight. It's just not good enough for this club.
No one can question your heart, your desire. It looked like at times you were trying to carry the team on your back. Personally, did you feel like you had a good game?
I don't really want to speak about that, because it's difficult for me. When I'd take any of us winning week in, week out as a team, as a collective. That's what we come here to do. And tonight, we had a plan that we wanted to do, and again, we've just not executed it right. We're just struggling at times in parts of the game. We're looking dangerous at times, but then we're also looking nothing like we've trained. So it's just it's difficult at the minute, but we just need to keep regrouping and find the answers ourselves, because no one else is going to give it them. We're getting everything provided for us, and that's just down to us to make sure we put the performances on a Friday night.
When you talk about that, everything provided for you, what do you mean, bud?
I just think obviously staff, they can't do much more for us. They're giving us everything, the platform there to go perform, and as players we're not producing at the minute, and it's only something that we've got to, again, we go again next week, we regroup and we go again.
So there we go. Paul Wellens and Mark Percival. I thought Percival was class. Gents, let's have a chat about what's going on here at St Helens. That's the league table, the fifth. And for me, some of what we're seeing at the moment, reference Paul Wellens, I think is unpalatable as a rugby league fan. Steph, as your top as I'm looking, do you agree?
Yeah, and we spoke about this earlier, Dave, in terms of, if you look at Lee last season, at this point in the season, we're on 4 points and got to the semi-final, one game away from the grand final. Saints are 6 points ahead of where Lee were last year. So I get that it's different at St Helens because there is that expectation of greatness. But in sport, it comes in cycles. It's peaks and troughs. And, the Saints team are more than good enough to make the playoffs, to get to a semi-final, even get to a final if everything clicks for them. I thought Percival got it bang on. If you look at what's happening on the field for Saints, it's not coaching things. It's key men, and experienced players who are letting that side down at the moment with, stupid errors, knock-ons. And it's not the young lads. The young lads are coming in and doing quite a decent job for them. It's the senior pros. And so it's them guys who really need to look in the mirror for me at the moment and say, what are we doing? And it's a bit like, I remember at Hull FC when the players kicked Radford out, was it, at the dressing room, and said we need to sort this ourselves, and then they turned it around a little bit. I think there needs to be a bit of that at St Helens for me. And that then, if those players can step up, then I'm sure Saints can start to pick up more victories against the better sides.
Tom Massa, take a bow, sir. Love that. Saints fans have been used to champagne rugby. Now they've got fizzy white wine and they think it's water. It's a great quote. That's a great quote. That's out the top drawer, Greg.
It's a great analogy, yeah.
Greg, I mean, there was a moment there. I mean, I said this, people won't have heard it. I don't, they haven't listened to Final Whistle if they haven't seen Round Unpacked. I went into that press conference going to be asking Paul other questions around, headspace, 7 in a row, when does it become mental over physical, etc. But because of the questions he'd already been asked, I felt compelled to offer him a bit of support and ask him the questions that I asked him. And I don't know about you, but when he touched the badge and he almost got a bit emotional, Paul Wellens is not the enemy at St Helens. He loves that club to the very core.
Yeah.
Do you think he's being harshly treated?
I think he is. I really do think he is. I think, look at them. They're 5th in the league there. We're 10 weeks in. They're 5th in the league. They've lost a game. They've had some injuries. And, we joke. We joke about Saints having injuries last season. They were in the top 3 or 4 for a good part of last season. And despite losing games, because they had an injury list that would have floored most other teams. Let's put this right. It would have floored most other teams. They still got to the playoffs. They were still in that top 2, 3, 4 for most of the season. I think they only dropped out towards the end of the summer and then came back when the players got fit. By that stage, it was too late because they couldn't pull it back quick enough. They almost beat Warrington. They were a golden point away from going to Hull KR. I think the fans, they keep harking back to Cunningham. Different era, different times, different team, different people involved. Give the guy a break. Stop attacking his son, for God's sake. We don't do that in rugby league.
No.
Get rid of this sense of entitlement. You are doing well. You are coming up against teams that have improved year on year. And yeah, Wigan are at the top. Wigan are a class team. And we know the feeling of Saints fans towards Wigan and vice versa. But for years, you challenge Wigan. For years, you're not Wigan off your perch. It's cyclical, as Steph says. These things, Saints beat us how many times on the bounce? In the teens. It's cyclical. These things happen. There's a team down the bottom of the M6. There are two teams, either side of the M62 in a different sport we don't talk about, who are going through the same thing at this moment in time. So get behind your team. Instead of slagging them off, get behind your team. Ask yourself, who's going to do a better job than Lomax at this than Wellens at this moment in time? Don't know where Lomax came from then. But who's going to do a better job? Who are you going to bring in that's going to do a better job at this moment in time and turn that club round in a matter of the weeks that you want them to turn around? Magic Weekend could be a turning point.
Well, we'll come to that in a minute. Craig Forth there saying that, senior players are coming to the end of their career. Saints fans need to mature and support their team. We will remind you of that, Craig, in 4 years' time when you drop, mate. Don't you worry about that. Great comment, sir. Well done. Joel, just in terms of what you're seeing from Saints, Percival not laying the blame at the coaches, blame the blame at the players. They're the ones who clearly, they are being coached during the week. It's a nonsense, all this, who's coaching them. They're being coached, they're doing drills, they're doing stuff. And Percival, if you watch the extended interview, pretty much says they're not executing what they're being told to execute. You've got players trying to do it on their own. That's not a coaching issue. That's a player issue, Joe.
Mark would not be saying the words that he said if Wellens wasn't doing the job he should be doing. and that was very clear. Percival had it. You could see it in his eyes. There's no body language, everything. He didn't have to speak. We all could see and feel how we were feeling. But then it also makes you think. I'm just baffled why we have to have this conversation. But we know why, because It's got your fans and your journalists. So you'll see now, and this is not the bias towards you, Dave, through Super League Raw. This is just that was just good journalism. That was just really good questionings. You know, there has to be a change somewhere, and we can't have the same old boring farts asking the same questions to people like Wellens, who no, it's true, who are making him feel like they are, and then the fans are then going on giving it all big licks on the keyboards, you know, to him. They're in fifth. You know, they're going on like they're battling with the likes of Cass, Salford, and the Giants. Come on, man. We'd give us left arms to be where Saints are right now. If you had a wobble, a lot of you, because it's just ridiculous. And I love what was it Matty that said the comment about the champagne. The rugby league is not a birthright. Like, you're not the royal family. It's not a birthright to the throne. You've got to earn it every single year. And that year, when they got the quadruple, they earned it. It doesn't mean you automatically get it. So they need to just take a step back, give him a breather, let him do what he needs to do. And clearly, if you look at the passion he's got, if these people have got half the passion that he has, they'll actually get the club back to where it should be. Not whinging and whining because they're not coming top and winning 8-0 every game. It's just pathetic.
He's stumped.
I've got Gremlins tonight, clearly in Northwich. No, you're spot on, mate. You're spot on. We'll bring this to a close. I think we're all of a muchness that we think Wellens has been dealt a pretty shoddy hand. In answer to the question on the screen, that's Mike Rush. You know, we spoke at length on Round Unpacked, Steph, in terms of, you know, let's be fair, they bought Saylor on silly money. He wasn't better than what they've already got. And he's got to play on that money. So those questions have to be asked. However, let's just take a look at this objectively just for a moment. Wellens has got a 62.5% win ratio since becoming head coach. That ain't bad. All right, it's not the 70-odd% to Matt Pete, Willie Peters, etc. But in fairness to Matt Pete and Willie Peters, they haven't had the injury problems that Paul Wellens has had in 2023, which you've got to take into account. And Greg said it earlier, he got them into the playoffs, which nobody expected them to do with about 4 or 5 games to go. Now, here's the thing. Here is the thing, right? If ever there was a tonic, and we're going to get to predictions later, but if there was ever a tonic for St. Helens fans, this could be it. This is what journalism's all about. Let's give you some stats. You know, I like a stat. So since he took over, okay, he's got a 33% win ratio against Wigan. That'll sting. He's got a 20% win ratio over KR. That'll sting. 36 over Warrington. That'll sting. Lee, 33%. So these teams that finished above him last year, he's got a pretty torrid record in his career. Yeah. Salford, 50. Leeds, 85% win ratio. Hello, people going to Magic. And Catalan, 33%. Now, let's look at the last 2 seasons. That's a 3-year period. So let's have a look at the last 2 seasons. Wigan, 25%. He's won 1 out of 4. He's not beaten KR in 3 attempts. He's not beaten Warrington in 7. That'll sting. Lee, he's running at 33, 1 in 3. Salford, 50%, 2 from 4. Leeds, 4 from 4 wins. Hello, people are going Magic. And finally, Catalan Dragons, 66%. So, you know, in the hope for Mr. Wellens, perhaps the gods are shining. He's got Leeds at Magic. So, hey, he could get a win there, and everything's rose in the garden again. What's your thoughts on those stats, boys? Who wants to go first?
Well, I just want to address Alex's comment in the chat first of all, where he said we can't compare Lee to St. Helens. Well, you're absolutely right, Alex, because Lee finished above St. Helens for the last 2 seasons and won a challenge. So, and I think they also finished above Leeds for the past 2 seasons as well, making playoffs actually, which I don't think Leeds have done. So just to address that one with you, Alex.
Absolutely.
But no, interesting. Just to back that one up as well. I think that's a great start in terms of the Leeds one. That makes it a bit spicy for the Magic weekend, doesn't it? That's brilliant. No, it's like I was saying before. It's a transition stage at the moment for St. Helens, and I think there are only two or three signings in the next season that could transform them into being, you know, right up there with Wigan. You know, so it's not. it's not a disaster. It's not like what's happening at Huddersfield at the moment for St Helens. And I know it's difficult to appease St Helens fans who've been so used to being, uber competitive with all those top teams at the moment. But it'll come back. It'll come back. And the replacing Wellens, I don't think at this moment in time is the answer. No. I think those players, those senior players, are the ones who should be getting the criticism for their errors and their discipline, because that's what's letting them down at the moment, not the coaching style.
Alex, mate, I know that you've finished behind Saints for 2 seasons in a row. I'm trying to give Saints fans a little bit of a chin up, mate. You know what I'm saying? They're in turmoil, son. You know what that's all about. Come on, show a bit of compassion, Alex. Stop taking the bait. You're supposed to be good at fishing, not me. Hey, it looks like we've got a live one here, boys. Oh, it's Alex Sharp. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Let's move quickly on.